I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. Welcome, Christine, to this Divine Design podcast.
Thank you, Ann-Peggy.
I love how this happened. We have never chatted before. This is the first time we meet.
Yes.
And I was in a project and I didn't have energy. It didn't flow. It was kind of, and I said, what is this? Why can't I do it? And then I said, I need to shift. And I went into Facebook and looked for something, Peter, a common friend of us. And I asked you, and you gave me the answer. And then I said, well, are you interested in doing a podcast? I said, yeah, hi. Your plans for today have shifted as well.
Yes, for tonight, definitely. Because if Stuart's home, it's just not the same. You know, you can't just be and talk about this stuff because I just don't want him listening. Yeah.
So here we are. So we had no plans. We met 10 minutes ago and we just went on. So this is live. So I love it. And I don't know so much about you. So I'm interested because you live in Australia, doesn't you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
In Melbourne. Yeah. Right down south. Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? What are you up to? Because we have met in groups, but I don't know so much about you.
I'm retired. I was in banking and finance for 30 odd years. I'm 73. And I mean, I just had a normal, ordinary, fun life until I hit 40, and then I started seeing numbers. And I'm an only child, so there was no distraction from siblings or anything like that. Been an interesting journey. I've had a great life. I've had so much fun. Anyway, I did get married and had 2 sons, and they're just the love of my life, but they're 39 and 41 now. But they're still the love of my life.
Yeah.
And one of them's back home after a breakup. So how long he stays, who knows? Doesn't matter. And then I think just before I hit 40, I started waking up at 3:33 every morning. Now, this is in 1992. I learned many, many, many years later when I did multidimensional workshops that in 1992, I think it was January the 11th, a Stargate opened, which let in more energy. And I assume that energy connected with what we had encoded in us to wake up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anyway, every morning, and I was planning to leave Sydney then. I was living in Sydney then and moved to Melbourne. And I had no idea about any of this stuff. None. Up to then. Anyway, so for a year I squirreled away money and planned and got everything organised to move 800 k's south to Melbourne. And that all fell into place. Everything was fine. And then as soon as I hit Melbourne, the numbers changed to 1111. And it was 1111, 1212, 222, 12, like 1221. It was just everywhere. Petrol, I'd go and get petrol, and it was 33.33, the amount of what I had to pay. And I went to a card reader And I asked, I said, what's this 1111 mean? And obviously now she didn't know. And all she said, oh, the guides are saying you'll find out in the future. And it's like, well, that's a load of crap. Um, and so then I went to, a girlfriend of mine said, I'll come to yoga. So I went to yoga. That yoga teacher said, oh, you should go to meditation. And I went, oh, okay. So I went to a meditation class with some other people, a different teacher. And that teacher said, oh, you really need to be in a more advanced meditation class. And it's like, what? What are all these people saying these things to me for? Anyway, my yoga teacher asked me to teach a class, and I went to the place, and the girl at the desk said, how are you? And I said, oh, flat as a tack. I need plugging in and recharging. And she said, oh, she gave me a card of a lady who'd come in the day before, and I saw her the next morning, and she did a healing on me and gave me a book by Barbara Marciniak, Bringers of the Dawn. It's Pleiadian channeled. And I read it like in 2 days. And then I think I sulked for 2 weeks because it resonated so much. It just woke so much up in me. And I just thought, how are we going to do this on this planet? How is this going to happen? And then that lady's name was Barbara. So I went to her classes. She did my Reiki, my Seishim. She taught another healing, and she was into toning and starry language. Yeah. And then I met another lady called Salantra King. She's from New Zealand. Oh, she died actually. She was from New Zealand, and she did multi-dimensional stuff. And just that was right up my alley. So I just went there, and then I started. I was talking to Salantra on the phone one day, and I just started doodling. And after the phone call, we were on the phone for about 2 hours. After the phone call, I looked at what I'd drawn, and I thought, oh my God, I can see her whole story in that drawing. I could see it. It wasn't a picture. It was just squiggles and lines and all sorts of things. And I rang her back and I said, I've got that story you just told me about Mark and all of this and that. I said, it's all in this picture. I said, do you want me to burn it? And that should end all of that karmic stuff. I don't know why I said that. I just knew
Yeah.
that's what I had to do. Anyway, so I did, and that was that. And yeah, anyway, I went on a lot of multi-dimensional trips with her to oh, Mexico, New Zealand, Northern Australia, Central Australia. I never did go to Scotland or England with her. And it got to the stage where I'd say, I want to go, but I don't have the money. And the voice would say, you can do this now. And I went, oh, I know that, but I want to go. But yeah, so it got to the stage where, and then I just started drawing sacred geometry, and then I started writing a book, and then I wrote another book and another book. And yeah, and then probably 2 years ago, I probably since Stuart's been home, I just thought, oh, and I was running classes, teaching, doing all sorts of workshops, all sorts of things, and and I just didn't want to do anything. It's like no, I just don't want to do anything for now. I just go into the garden, walk the dog, and go into the garden. I don't want to see people. I don't want them here. I just yeah. So and that's where I am. And but I'm happy doing the talks with you guys because no one's invading my space.
Yeah.
I just wanted my alone time. I don't know what's coming next. I know there's downloads. I know there's things changing, energy shifting, all that stuff. And I'm just waiting to see what comes along next. And it'll appear.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
you are into a very important thing because it shifts so much, and I see myself, wow, like this, what I was planning to do this morning. I went into it,
Yeah.
no energy, and it's like, and we had no plan of meeting, kind of. So it's like, yeah, it is kind of a feminine time as I see it, not as a women time, but feminine is not about women, but it is kind of receiving. It is more about receiving than forcing, because I tried to do what I had planned to do because it's the last day I needed to do that, and but then no, there were no energy there, and then you pop up. I had never spoken to you like this before, and like, okay, would you do a podcast? It was just came through. So I was in the receiving mode. I was in the feminine. I just saw that, okay, it was so much resistance there. So I went out of it, and you were, well, we can do it now. It's like, oh, yeah. So,
Okay.
so the energy shifts. So if you have had a lot of plans like before, and I wanted to force what I was in, then this wouldn't have happened.
No, 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 no. And where this leads, who knows? It doesn't matter. Um, it's just nice to talk to someone who you can be um, authentic with,
Yeah.
even if it sounds odd, and even if I don't know the answer to what I'm trying to say, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. So
No.
it is kind of, we are invited to be more open and see what's unfolding, kind of just what unfold, not pre-plan. So I meet
Yeah.
this almost every day, and I want, of course, we have something they must do, kind of, and you mentioned your sons, and being a mother myself, I had a lot of lists, do, and also we mentioned when we have kids, they move home from time to time, break up, or so we also have our oldest daughter home now because she is really sick, so she is in the hospital here. So it is like that when you are parents, but so, and also what I have discussed with my husband is like, we try to follow our kids because we never know, because they are doing their thing, someone come home, and actually no, three of the kids are home, so that's why I'm going home now. So yeah, it is, but to allow ourselves to be open and see what's happening, because this is kind of what I'm sensing from us, because we started this way. We none of us planned it. You had a plan with your son, and he said, well, something happened and he didn't come home, and I had another plan, and then here we are.
Yeah, yeah. And just talking about the kids, my eldest son Tristan, he was the one that really kick-started me. Actually, that meditation class I went to, where the lady said you need to be in a more advanced class, I'd only ever been to two meditation classes, the one they had the week before and the one that week. And the week before, there was about 6 people. They were sharing all their bits and pieces, and I'm thinking, oh, I saw that. Oh yeah, I saw that too. I saw that too. I saw that. I saw everything they saw, and I got two swords given to me. So that was my little snippet. I got two swords. The next week, the guy running it said, what's everyone want this week? And I said, I just want my own picture, not everyone else's. So obviously I set that in motion. Well, my picture ended up being, we had to go along a field, and I had a new puppy at home. Well, he came with me, and there was also Pegasus, and we had to go to a star and get a star guide who took us on a journey. That was the crux of it. And anyway, next thing it's just all black, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, well, this is it. I can't do this. But then, boom, next thing I'm in a room, and there's just light beings everywhere. I didn't know what they were then, but Now I do. There were light beings everywhere sitting down, and there was a stage up the front. And this dude up on stage had a wolf mask on. And all I'd learned at that stage was Wolf is a teacher. Okay, that's all I knew. And this dude on stage says, right, this half of the massive room, this half of the room goes to Earth, and that half of the room stays here to assist those going to Earth. And I looked around, there was just white light beings everywhere. I zoom in, I couldn't see any faces. Anyway, I jumped up and said, okay, well, I'm going. And I got to the arched doorway, and there was a suit of armour, and he gave me another sword. And I said, oh, thanks. I've got 3 now. Thank you. And I turned around to the doorway, and Tristan, my eldest son, was standing there as clear as you are. And I just waggled the sword at him, and I said, I thought you'd be in on this. And he said, yeah, I'm coming as your son. Now, he was 12 then. And I said, well, you just don't give me any grief through your teenage years. You just behave yourself. That's all I was worried about, you know. And he said, oh, if you don't wake up, I've got to give you a hard time. And I said, look, just don't give me a hard time. I said, anyway, come on, let's go. And he said, oh, no, I've got to go to Sirius first. And I said, all right, I'll see you when you get there. And he said, okay. And I said, okay. And boom, we came back to the room. And I came back to the room. And, yeah, and so this bunch of teachers said I had to be in a more advanced meditation class. As far as I was concerned, that was my normal visions. That's normal for me.
Yeah.
Seeing all. Yeah, so Tristan's part of it.
Yeah.
And he did give me a hard time during his teenage years until I shifted and changed. It was fascinating to watch. But luckily, my Reiki teacher, she was onto the Indigo kids. And I read about them, and she really helped me through navigating and also understanding who he was and who I am and all that stuff. But it's been, and then I think I was on the laptop when I first got a computer. And I thought, oh, I wonder where my buddies are. I got on Facebook. I wonder where my friends are in England. So I started Googling around Jill and a few of the others that I know. And obviously my relatives live over there too. And I didn't find Jill, and I thought, all right, well, I know Colin wouldn't have changed his name, so I Googled his name because I knew I was at their wedding and they were at my wedding. And of course he comes up, and then so I just sent him a friend request and he answered back. And then I think a couple of days later he said, just have a look at my website, because on my Facebook there was my website, and it's like, oh my God, it's the same stuff. And like, you know, yeah. Jill and I had been flatmates for years. Well, I was only in England 2 years, for a year. And, you know, it's funny how you gravitate to the people you're meant to gravitate to that are the same energy. Yeah. Even though we had no idea.
No, yeah, and that's fun because I met you through Colin, and I met Colin in another group, and when I went out of this group, my intuition was, I need to contact. So I sent as a, can we speak? And he said yes, and after that we speak weekly for almost a year. So it is, as you say, we just find the friends, and yeah, and you resonating with Colin, that means that we also are resonating. So
yeah. Well, it's funny because I did think about trying to, you know, find you girls and the girl in New Zealand and everything, but I just thought, oh, look, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. You know, that we connect on Facebook, because it's hard to get. I can only do Colin's monthly one. And also at the same time, I've thought to myself, I really should do this myself with my buddies here instead of having them come to the home. I do this. I just haven't got off my bum and done it, you know.
But
Um,
yeah, because you
yeah.
are in Australia, and that's another time. So you are in the night, and I'm in the morning.
Ah, right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's 11 or something, 10 or 11 hours difference.
Yeah,
Mm, yeah. But that it works sometimes, like it's working now.
yeah. And I'm glad
Yeah.
you mentioned your son, kind of what your son did, because all my kids have done the same. So I was thinking about going
Mm,
specific because the four first children, they really helped me to awaken. The last
yeah.
one, the one who came kind of 6 years after, because they were very close, the four first, and the last one, she was more she was more holded of us. She didn't awake us, kind of, because her siblings had wakened us. So
Yeah.
she was kind of the one that could be holded in another way, because the other one kind of activated us more. Because you know when you
Yeah.
child come and you have a plan being a mother and a father, but it does not go the way you plan. And also
No.
the two first of my kids, they were very sick, so it was in and out in hospital, so it was kind of survival. So they really wake us up, and then the last one
Yeah.
can kind of serve on all this.
Yeah. Well, quite frankly, Tristan's an Aries, and he is. Um, I even said to him in his teenage years, "Have you got a hit list on me inside yourself?" Whereas as soon as that you tick off each time that you use. But what I learned was it was like his soul was looking at my soul, saying, "Okay, she needs to deal with greed." Okay, for example, and the next thing, there's a board game on the lounge room table deal that's lime green with big red letters over it, greed. And I said, "Oh, what's that?" And he said, "Oh, we're going to play a board game." Well, he never did. It just sat there for 3 weeks. And I just said to my teacher, "Okay, what have I got to?" And I've got to be greedy. I've got to love being greedy. I've got to own my own greed, all that. So I just spent 3 weeks saying that to myself until I felt the shift in my guts. And then I thought, "Oh, I've done it. I've owned it. I love it. I am greedy." Yeah. And I said to Tristan, "Okay, I'm greedy now. I love my greed." And he just looked at me and he just said, "Oh, well, that's good, Mum." But the next day he took that board game back to his mates. It was done. So I knew it was done. And it just went like that throughout his teenage years until he left home. But the only reason you say about your last born, well, my son Stuart, who's back home, they're both opposite energies.
Yeah.
And Stuart is a very gentle, soft, kind soul. Tristan is the warrior, and I'm going to go out there and but he's very determined, and he won't back down. Um, and truly, if it hadn't have been for Stuart, I probably would have necked Tristan at some stage because he was so in my face. I would have whacked him one. But Stuart was the one that was sort of holding this divine energy. I could go and hug him and I'd just say, "Oh my God, your brother is so much energy." And so the trouble was when Tristan roared, it knocked you. It knocked you. It physically, I could feel it pushing me. Um, and yes, Stuart would disappear, the dogs would disappear, everyone would disappear. But of course, being the mum, I had to face it.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to, yeah, interesting, so interesting. And one day he came home from school And he walked in the back door and he just said, "How are you?" And I said, "Yeah, good." And he got halfway down the hall to his room and he came back and he said, "Why do you say that?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "Why do you say you're okay when you're not?" He said, "Because the feeling I get from you is not okay, but your word said you were okay." And I just went, "Oh my God, yes." And truly from that day on, I never lied to him or white lies or anything like that, because he could read me. He could read my mind. He could read me. And it was like, wow, wow.
Yeah, that is that's the way they wake us up, kind of. They because they know, they sense the energy. So they, yeah, you say that's what also I did in my family. My mother and father said things, but they felt another thing. So I got
Yes.
confused. But they said that I wasn't allowed to feel, so they shut me down. So I closed my heart when I was 5 because all my feeling they say were wrong. I couldn't. So but now we have awakened more and more to kind
Yeah.
of understand, because that was the way we did it for so many years.
Yeah.
Kind of, you
Yeah.
don't, we are not supposed to have feelings, just listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when my mum got dementia, my mum was, look, she was a loving mum and all that sort of stuff, but she was very sneaky, and she'd think, and obviously I was picking up her thoughts,
Yeah.
because I'd think to myself, "I don't believe you. I think you're thinking something else." I've got to plug my phone in now. Tristan and I and Mum, I was in the middle, were looking out a window at a view and how nice it was and everything. And Mum was just going, "Yeah, nice." And I said something to Tristan and I turned to Mum to say something, and she didn't really connect with me because her mind was just focused on the view. And it was like in that instant, I realised, I turned back to Tristan and I realised she was no longer judging me or criticising me in her mind, which then made me realise how much I had picked up and sensed from her all my life, like this, the mini skirts, the skirts too short, or your boobs aren't big enough, or your hair looks stupid, like that. All those things, I felt them, I heard them in my mind, in my being. She didn't voice them, but you could tell she was thinking it,
Yeah.
and that affected me. So basically from that day when I realized that, that's when I stopped
Yeah.
doing the same to the boys, because they could sense, feel, and like Tristan said, "I'm getting confused in my mind because you're not speaking what I'm feeling you feel." So it's so important to just not judge them. A lady said to me once upon a time, "When your boys go riding on their push bikes, don't worry about them because you're going to interfere in their connection to their higher self, because you're so connected to them and vice versa. If they're riding along the footpath and they need to cross a road and you're worrying, their connection to their higher self has got interference. And so, therefore, they may miss their higher self saying to them, 'Turn left, don't cross the road.' And they'll follow their inner guidance. But if I'm interfering in it, they might miss that thought. You know what I mean?"
I because and when you talk, I'm into the story of my daughter, because she's in her deep hero's journey, because she is in so much pain. And yesterday she had another pain. She cannot speak. She has so much pain, so she's kind of. And yesterday she puked blood, so she's really sick. So it kind of,
Oh.
and I have said that I would do this. I would so I give her advice, but it is up to her. So she's going her way, and even though I said this is what I will do, and she do it her way, so I understand. So they are supposed to go their way, and she do it when she is kind of at the enough point, because so she's kind of hitting the enough point time after time, and I did the same. I was at when I went my hero's journey, I was enough, because so, but it is harder. I don't know if it's hard, but it feels harder to stand next to your daughter when she do it than you doing it yourself. Even though I have done it myself, standing there, and I know, and now seeing her and in pain, puking blood and fatigue, cannot speak. It is hard. It is hard sometimes to be a mother, because you know that they are in their deep hero's journey, so much pain, and it is up to them. They need to come to the enough, and so many enough points.
Yeah. And what's wrong with her?
She have a tumor in her pituitary gland, so she have a brain tumor.
Can't you go in there and get rid of it? You know?
Yeah, this is her dark night of the soul and her hero's journey, so she chose this. I have gone into it, so I'm asked to not interfere, and that's the hardest part, because what I did for all my kids, you kind of, as a mother, you want to solve their problems, and my oldest son actually said, "Mother, you always sort out. I never get to do it myself." So he actually, I want to do my life. You cannot do my life. So he was, because he committed suicide also. So he had a hard way. He was a lot of sick. But so his way in the end was committing suicide. But before he did that, he said, "Now you have fixed my life," because he had been much sick. "I need to do it my way." So he was very the last year that, I'm adult. I'm almost 22. I need to do it myself. And I didn't like his solution, but I learned a lot, even though the solution wasn't the best, that they also have to walk their path. So it is a fine-tuning kind of how much to interfere and how much to not. So because I interfered several times in Alexander's life, and I went home to his, because he went into the computer because all his life collapsed. And one time I took his computer, and he was so angry. "Never come to my home and take my computer," because I wanted to help him, and kind of, you need to face life, kind of. So it is a balance. It's not only easy to be a parent when your kids are going through hard times.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm talking too much, the croaky voice.
But when you say it, I want to mention another thing, because I have worked with several people the last couple of weeks, and most of them here. It has been here for a couple of, so it feels like, for me, because I have gone into and helped guiding people, when I have guided them, it's like they are standing up for themselves in a new way. I don't say that this is, but the people I have guided, they find another strength, another self, kind of. So they are communicating even more with their soul essence.
Communication with myself. Maybe. Yeah, I'm
with
not.
Our God source, because all of us had the God source inside. So it's kind of being even more authentic. Oh, as we have spoken about, our kids have really helped us to do this, and our voice. It is a renewal almost of our voice. So it's kind of upgrading.
Yeah. Well, Stuart, both of us have had bronchitis for about 3 weeks now. So yeah, both of us.
Yeah, and I have worked with several that really say, "Oh, it has been for several weeks," and I say, "Well, I see the renewal, kind of. You are using another voice. It's kind of more the soul voice in another way. It is because we are fine tuning, because we are going from, I call it going from Homo sapiens to Homo luminous. Someone say it is going from being animal to being more advanced. So, but anyhow, we are changing."
Yes, we are. Yeah, so the quicker we change, the better this will go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel blank now.
Yeah. Well, we can feel blank also, like I, because that's why it started with me that the energy is not here.
Yeah.
So it is also kind of when the energy isn't there, because the old me when I was in my old, it's kind of, even though the energy wasn't there, I pushed it, and then we pushed it and pushed it, so we come to more, enough. So it feels like we are not supposed to push anymore. Just open and
No.
see what comes, because then it comes another thing.
Yes. 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 No, not letting go of control.
Yeah.
Controlling. Yeah. 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 Definitely.
Yeah, if we had control, we wouldn't be on this podcast, because you had other plans, I had other, and we just let it go, and then we meet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I said to him, "Oh, now's good." And then you said, "Well, now," and it's like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I had so much resistance, and it is my last day, and I said to my husband, I have so much to do in my last day, and now I'm doing something I wasn't supposed to do. So, but that is life. So it changed so fast. So that's why I call it the feminine skills, because it's
Yeah.
more about being open.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And see, Stuart's very, very, he follows, he just goes with the flow and has done from the day he's been born. So it's been nice to follow him as well, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
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 Yeah, and that's a significant thing in it, because we go with the flow. And what I also have experienced, the flow, I can be into a project and the flow goes perfectly, and suddenly it stops, and it is another thing. And so it is harder to plan, because if I say I will do this for a year, and suddenly the energy stop after 3 months. So it is, when we say, because 20 or 30 years ago, we could say, I will do this in the next couple of years. But now it is almost impossible to say what we will do the next couple of years, because it shifts so much.
Yeah, totally. I wouldn't make any plans that far ahead. I've made plans with Tristan to go to a concert on the 8th of August, and that's it. That's all. That's my only plan for the future, because every day something always comes up,
It does.
and it's just perfect for whatever it is that's going on. And I've learnt that the last couple of years. Like, I do sewing as well. And if I don't want to do any, I'll just say to the universe, just don't send me anyone. I don't want to do any this week, and no one will come.
Yeah.
And as soon as yeah.
I have said yes to, I call it a marathon, but it is not running. I have said yes to do 1 year of social media every day. And I had to go deep, kind of, because it is short video. So I will start in July making short video every day. And I have no idea how it will be, kind of, but I was guided that, because what I saw in 2013 and also in 2017 when I did my vision board and kind of the future, now when I had a ceremony, it was, now it will start in autumn, and if you do short video, it will help you. So I have no idea how this will go, but I just do it. So I have said yes to do it every day. And some days I know, because some days it's like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do it. Yeah, we all of us have these days. But so I had to, I know those days will come that you don't want to do it, but I will do it anyway. So I have said yes to do a social media marathon, one short video every day. And someone said it is so much crap on the social media. It's just people showing off and doing a lot of unnecessary stuff. And when I go to social media, I cannot do unnecessary. So it has to be a depth in it. So I cannot just go on social media saying blah 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 blah, no meaning. No. So it has to do. It is about the time we are in, and the changing, and we have to go to our emotional stuff, and living as Homo Luminous, the Christ consciousness, and all of this, or divine embodiment. So I will talk about what we are becoming, kind of being Homo Luminous, that we are invited in.
Yeah. No, that'll be good. Yeah.
Yeah, the line is bad, so maybe the universe is saying, well, now you are going towards an end.
Yeah, and I've got to put my dinner on.
And Christine, this was so amazing. So this was kind of practical, everyday life, just opening up. And this podcast it was not planned. It just came to us. This podcast and the team just came to us. So thank you so much, Christine, for saying yes.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. And no doubt we'll talk soon.
We will talk soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, Ann-Peggy. Bye-bye.
For the rest of 2026, I am offering 8 free gifts every week, starting week 33. Every week, 8 people will receive a free 13-minute attunement session, a part of Ask Divine. This is the session where something shifts, because you finally meet the part of yourself that has been waiting to be heard. To qualify, you can do one or both of the following. Share Field Readings newsletter with 3 people. You will find it at anpeggydivine.com or weltsmerts.se under Join Field Readings. Or share 1 or 2 of my weekly videos on your Facebook or Instagram timeline. Then let me know. Send me a DM on Messenger or Telegram, or write in the Facebook group Ask Divine. Every Friday I drew 8 names. If you are one of the 8, you will receive a private DM from me on Friday with your personal booking link. Session take place on Sundays and Mondays on Zoom, and you will receive your Zoom link from me the day on your session. Didn't make it this week? You're automatically in the draw again next week. The link to attunement session and Ask Divine is below. I'll see you there. Thank you for listening to the Divine Design Podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.